Hi, Gayla. Can you hear me?
Gosh. Yes, I can hear you now. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm so good. I love the trees behind you. Wow, so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you. I love your flowers. Is this a terrarium behind you too? Is or
Yeah,
what
it's
do you
like
got?
a whole giant thing outside the window. Yeah,
Whoa, gorgeous.
thank you. Well, I just want to say welcome to the digital living room. And it's an honor to have you here today and to
Hmm.
read for you. And yeah, I like to start by just always first asking, what are your pronouns, Gayla?
Oh, thank you so much. I use all pronouns, but typically they, them
Cool.
is safe. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, how
Um,
about for you?
and
What
I'm
pronouns
they,
do you
them
use?
also.
They,
Yes.
them. Okay, wonderful.
Thank you for asking. And
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to say, just because these readings can be big and, every medium works differently. So I like to just explain a little bit about how I work so you know what to expect. And then also how the session will go and then how we'll kind of come to a close. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect. Would it be all right if I screen record
Yes,
the thing?
sure.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
you
thank
will
you.
get this recording from me as well, so you'll have it.
Okay, never mind. Okay, perfect. Thank you
But
so
whatever,
much. You're
yeah,
on
I
it.
always like
What
to
is your
send.
astro what
Yeah,
is your astrology sign?
I am a double Capricorn.
That's why. He said, I'm already prepared. I have the plan. I love it. I love it so much. Shout
Oh
out to the
yeah,
Capricorn holding it all together.
thinking of all the details. Yep, that's me. So yeah, I love your energy. So I just want to start by saying, I tend to hear, see, and feel and sense spirits from the other side. What that just means
Mm,
is I see in my mind images in great detail, if they want me to, signs, symbols, everything from my mind. And then I'm able to sense a lot of energy through my body. So I invite the spirits to come in and use my body as needed to express whatever it is they want to express. I like to think
mm.
of it as doing charades in the dark. Uh, I, I never, I never know why the heck I'm doing what I'm doing ever, and that's great because I am just trying to translate what they're trying to get across to you. Uh,
Yeah.
my role is really to take the energy that they're sending and put it into words that we would understand here in this physical plane as
Mm,
humans. Um,
mm,
so, how each spirit works is differently, and I really just allow them to express in the ways that they want to express. Sometimes their personality, sometimes what they
mm.
wore, how they looked. It really depends on the spirit and what was important to them. Um,
Wow.
I asked for validation. Sorry, I'm already getting distracted because there's like energy coming in. So I asked for. This always happens. I'm like, let me do my little speech, everyone. I asked for validations, of course, to come through just so we can know who's here. And then as we go along, feel free to say, yes, this makes sense. No, I don't understand that. Could I tell me more? What that does is just
Mm,
lets me know if I'm articulating and interpreting the information correctly.
mm,
Um, and then what they tend to bring up, I don't know. I always ask for the highest healing and what our hearts and souls most need to hear. And so it can be emotional and it can be tears, it can be laughter, it can be all sorts of feelings. And just knowing that everything is welcome in this space. Um, and then towards the end, I usually leave time for a little Q&A of questions you have for them or for me or for anything that's popped
okay.
up. And then we'll kind of come to a close at that point. How does that sound, Gayla?
That sounds great. That sounds wonderful. And just to clarify, so is it from what the message I received was from it's connecting with a specific person, not just like oh ancestors or like whatever. Okay, okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I like to think of it as like it's like choosing a channel on a radio station. I find that if people are like, I'm open to everything, everything comes in on every channel. And then we have like Uncle Joe from 10 lineages ago and Dot Ma. It's like, whoa, what the and that's
Amazing.
beautiful, but that would be more of like an ancestral reading. And then that's beautiful
Yeah.
too. It's just a different type of channeling. So yeah, this is
Yeah.
really for the loved one that you're wanting to connect with. And again, I don't know who will step forward. Sometimes it is a different being before the one we want to feel. I just trust them
Mhm.
completely. So
That makes complete sense.
okay, good.
Amazing.
Yeah. So do you have any questions about the process itself before we get started?
Hmm. Um, I don't think so. If everything that you said makes sense and like I have a little tiny bit of awareness for myself of just like channeling and stuff, so I think like I'm just really open and excited to see how it goes. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great. Yeah, and I also, welcome the whole humans that we are. So, drinking water, moving your body, breathing, laughing, like all these things are welcome in this space.
Mm.
Sometimes people hold their breath and they're like forgetting to breathe. So, I just want to name that, and nothing disrupts the connection that you have. So,
Amazing. Thank you so much for
yeah, you're
that.
so welcome. So I'll just take a moment here, and what I'll do is just start to open up into your field. And then as I open into
Mhm.
your field, I'll just see who's here. And
Mm.
usually we'll just start talking and expressing what it is I'm sensing and feeling, and then we'll just see what happens. How does that sound?
Perfect. That sounds great. Thank you.
So welcome. So I'll just take this moment. I invite you in your own way just to breathe and come open to this experience. um, hmm. So I'm feeling a lot of energy. For some reason, I'm feeling a ton of pressure on my head. So I don't even know who this is yet or
Mm.
anything, but I just feel this like pressure right on the back of my head
Mm.
as this energy comes closer to me. And as I feel the energy kind of coming closer, I can sense and feel a figure coming close to me. And again, what I'm sensing and feeling is I feel like I'm going to say she wants to be identified as female. And that's important.
Yeah, yes.
And I feel like I don't know what this is, but this very quietude about her. Um,
Mm.
and like I don't know, it's like a quiet knowing or something. It's a very steadiness and a quiet knowing. And I feel
Mm.
like for some reason she's bringing me to her chest. So I don't know what this is yet, but she brings me to her
Mm.
chest in connection with you. And that feels
Mm.
really, really important. Do you understand this so far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I feel like, and she's being very tender with you in this process
Oh.
right now. Like she's like, I'm just gonna go slow. And I don't know if this would have been her way of being, but she is like going so
Mm.
slow with you and really taking
Mm.
her time to come through
Mm.
in as much as you can take in. So I don't know what this is about, but it feels important and part of like you receiving her in this way. Do you understand this?
Mm. Totally. I can totally see that.
Okay. So as she comes closer to you, and I feel this like deep, deep love from her chest emanating to your chest. And again, just
Mm.
this feeling of connection and this feeling of, I'm going to say this, I get like a maternal feeling from her, like a mother. And I
Yes.
feel just like enveloped, like a mother holding a child is what I can feel. And I just feel that
Mm.
energy in the chest to you. Do you understand that? How do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand that a lot. The person who I think this is or who I invited is
Mm,
someone who was a major caretaker
okay.
in
Yeah.
my family realm. So
Okay.
that makes a lot of sense.
Cool. And as I bring her more closer and forward, there's a few things she's showing me now in more detail.
Mm.
So I'm just going to name them. there's an
Mhm.
emphasis on this energy of almost like an older mother. So I don't know, it's like almost like a grandmother or a figure that feels like a grandmother, but I feel an older mother figure. Does that make sense to you? Okay.
Yeah, she's my grandmother.
Look at this being on your arm right now.
It's literally looking, the spider literally looked in my eyes. I was like, hi.
Oh,
It has little green eyes. Hi. It's very cute. Hi. Do you want to say hi? No,
oh
no.
my God.
Okay. That's okay.
Everyone, there's a spider, and no one can see this on the podcast, but there's a spider right now crawling over Gayla as we're bringing through this grandmother figure. So amazing validation right there. Um, so and this is what it's amazing about connecting with spirit is like, it comes in from all ways, and especially in the natural world, all these little creatures can be influenced by our loved ones. So I just want to
Mhm.
say that she makes me feel like she very much visits you in lots of different ways and makes her presence known, and you actually take it in and
Yeah.
feel, it. Like, I want to mention a few things she's showing me is like, first of all, she showed me right before this session, I saw orbs. Like I saw an orb move through the air and like a flash of light. And I was like, what is this? Do you understand this?
Yes, absolutely.
And
Oh,
I never, I mean, I see orbs here and there, but it like literally came across the computer right before you got on. And I was like, wow, okay.
hello.
Um, and she makes me feel like there are other signs, especially with birds and in nature and flying by, that you feel her presence. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, her presence to me, what I at least I've always interpreted as cardinals. Whenever I see cardinals, that's like I know she's here, and they will kind of sometimes follow me when I'm walking. Yeah, so when you said that, very yes, very resonant. Yeah.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Yeah, because she shows me different types of birds, which is just my sign for there's different
Mm,
ways that she influences different birds and they want to
mm,
visit you, and be with you.
mm.
And yeah, she says, I want to take this moment to thank you for the ways that you believe in what you're experiencing and the ways that you trust your heart. She says, wow, it's so, so beautiful and powerful the way that even when other people around you are doubting what you're experiencing, you still are like, no, I know this is real. I know it in my heart. I can feel it. Do you understand that, Gayla?
Mhm. So much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much.
She just wiped your tears on your cheeks.
Yeah.
Just said, I'm right here. She said, yeah. Um, she makes, okay, she's changing the energy. She's trying to take me to, I feel like I'm going back in time.
Okay.
I feel like she's taking me back to childhood. So she's placing
Mm.
me in a time of childhood, and I feel like I'm seeing you very little, and I'm seeing her, and I see her sort of, what is this? She's showing me kind of the way that she was with you and how she imprinted on you in your connection to feeling everything. So as she does
Oh.
this, she shows me sort of this, I don't know what it is, a sensitivity, almost this beautiful sensitivity of feeling the more than human world, if you will, and sensing more. And I feel like, I don't know what this is, but I see her outside with you. And I see her
Totally.
just like, it's like, I'm going to say this, it's not so many the words that are being said, but it's the way
Yeah.
of being that I feel like she was around you and the way that you picked up
Mm.
from that way of being. How do you understand that, Gayla?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, this person, my grandma, she that's very true. I don't really like so her and my grandpa's relationship, I remember him doing a lot more talking and
Mhm.
her a lot more like kind of the in-betweens of life and details. And yeah, and she would be very quiet. Generally. I mean, I remember her laugh and I remember things like that, but I don't remember her talking as much as my grandpa. And so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, she feels actually so much internally. Um,
Mm,
but also doesn't need the words to always say it. And it just is there.
Mm,
And she
mm,
wants to acknowledge that the way that you feel and sense so much internally, and that sometimes it's even hard to express like what is happening internally and all that you're feeling and sensing and tuning into in your everyday world and your
mm,
everyday life. Do you understand that,
mm.
Gayla?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
She says, you are such a special being. She says, you have been through so much here in this physical realm. She says,
Mm,
and you have traversed so much difficulty. And the fact that you're here still in this body and in this life is such a testament to the power of your spirit, Gayla. She just said, I am so proud of you in the sense of how you've remained to be here intact in this physical realm.
mm,
Do you understand that, Gayla?
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Wow.
She says, we need you here.
Oh,
I don't know what this is, but she just showed me, and I feel like again I'm having like kind of flashbacks or memories, and she just put me sort of into your field of energy in your body, and I feel
mm,
like there were these moments where I didn't want to be here anymore. I didn't want to live in this earthly plane. It's too much. It's too hard. Can't. Do you understand,
yeah,
Kayla?
yeah, yeah, that's very touching.
She says, it's important for me to bring this up, she says, because you are so, so needed more than you realize here in this physical realm. And what you are doing here is important work. She says, and I know, she says, the isolation can be intense. She says, and the not feeling like there's home somewhere. She says, that feeling of not feeling home. Do you understand that, Gayla?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so much.
Yeah. She says, I want to talk to you about why you feel this way.
Hmm.
She says, she's laughing now.
She laughs a lot.
She goes, she goes, well, you already know this, but you're not from here.
Oh my God. I guess I don't quite understand that, but I guess sort of, I guess.
She says,
Not in
um,
this world.
she says, you're not from this planet Earth. And she
Yeah.
says, I know you know that. Um,
Yeah.
she says, she says, and it's important, she says, because she says, I want to validate that you already know, sense, and feel you're from another planetary alignment, and that that is true. She said,
Yeah.
you are from another complete, even civilization of beings who
Mm,
have been in a place that is, I'm gonna describe what she's showing me right now, which is wild. So
please.
she like took me out of the physical. I'm like, whoa. And she suspended me in outer space. And I feel like I'm in actually deep, deep space.
Mm,
In this deep space, she's showing me this planet. And this planet is made of these different gases that are like purple, beautiful purple, like colors that are moving. And then she
wow.
showed me this, there's like these multidimensional beings is how I would call them, that are standing there, and they're full of love, and they're full of not only love, but their energy and who they're about is expansion, and really big, big growth, like so ahead of where we are here in the physical. That's what I want to say. There
Wow.
is no gender, there is no, they're all the same color, which is sort of this purpley blue skin is what I can see.
Okay.
And they're all very tall. They're very tall. Um, and there's a way that they're all standing actually behind you and
Mhm.
letting you know that they love you, And I'm going to say this, I've never said this before, but they make me feel like they're family to you.
Yeah.
They are deeply your family, like from the way beyond in a huge way. Um, and
Wow.
they're wanting to come forward again with your grandmother in validation of what you already know, sense, and feel, and that you're
Mm.
very much connected to another place called home, which is not here
Wow.
in this physical plane. How do you understand this, Kate?
Wow. Yeah, that is so incredible. Just thank you so much. This is such a blessing. I feel like I understand this in the sense of like, so oh my God, there's a huge hawk. There's like three hawks. There's three hawks.
There you go, Gayla. We call that super validation right there.
Yeah. Yes, there's
Mm.
like I guess one thing that brings up is that like in my dreams specifically, whenever I'm flying, that's like a huge validation that I'm doing something to help myself kind of feel like kind of take the weight off of this human existence. And another thing that when you said that brought up is just like, especially the last few years, just being more intentional to be out at nighttime because there's just this connection when I am able to see the sky open without clouds and like there will be more messages I feel like when it's the nighttime and I'm looking at the sky. Yeah. And I think the most recent time was it was either a new moon or was a time when the sun wasn't. Excuse me.
You're good.
Uh,
I know there's tears. It's always happens. People are like, "I'm a mess, Ash." I'm like, it's okay. I should. I wish I could give tissues over the screen. You know, like
yeah. I'm gonna ask this dandelion if I can use one of its
yeah.
leaves. Good for sure. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dandelion.
Thank you, dandelion, so much. Um,
Hmm.
there was just one moment where it was the new moon or sometime when the moon wasn't super bright and you could really see a lot of stars. And I had looked on my phone and there was like this
Hmm.
update about how there was like a bunch of planets aligned. So I was just really excited to get out there and look, and you could see quite a few planets like all together. And I was like, wow, this is just so powerful. I was just sitting on my patio for a while and I just kept getting, I just started crying. I didn't know why. And then these messages were like, you just really don't know how much we love you. And you don't really know how it how important it is for you to tell people around you
Hmm.
how much they're loved and how much
Hmm.
they're held and that at any time they can access this if they want it and that like um that there is so much suffering that you are here to like help relieve and yeah just hearing that was so valuable. It's just wild the visual. It's so cool to hear that. So cool.
Oh
uh,
wow. Yeah, I'm blown away. And again, just I had no idea. Just validating what you had in that moment of looking up at the stars and the skies and feeling that connection of home and feeling your literal cosmic family talking to you and telling you like you have
wild.
me here, right?
Wild, yes. You're in a human body now.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that doesn't always happen, you know. It does come through, but it is more rare that we have still the connection intact, or we have, I call it a membrance, you know, a thing that we're feeling like, why does this feel familiar? Why do we have it? Some of us hold on to that still, and we're like, oh, we can feel it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot, yeah, there's a lot of celebration right now from them to you
Oh.
in how much they've wanted to be able to come through in this way, especially in your
Oh.
life right now. Um,
Oh.
and how much your grandmother's just laughing. She's like laughing hysterically at the whole thing. She's like, this is so great. This is so great.
Oh my God.
Like, I am getting a kick out of this. This is great. Um, and yeah, there's a lot in, like you said, the importance of you being here in this time. They said you're very much a divergence. You know, you are very different than other people, and that is a blessing. That is a beauty. That is a gift that you give just by being who you are, no matter what the structures or systems think there's something with the essence of you and your power that is untouchable by anything else and by anyone else. And it's
Wow.
important for you to feel that. Do you understand that, Gayla?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And this feels important again. These, okay, thank you. These beings just took a step to the side, and your grandmother kind of came back in. Um,
Okay.
and as she comes back in, she's wow, she's so fast. I'm like, whoa, slow down. She's like, let's go here and here and here. I'm like, I know there's no time where you are, but there's time where we are. So, one of the things that she wants to bring in and bring up is this sense of purpose and placing. So, as she brings up purpose and placing, she makes me feel this question around why you're here and what you're doing,
Mm,
and being able to trust in the abilities and the gifts that you do have. She
mm,
makes me feel like you have such deep gifts and abilities and intuitions and knowings
mm,
about things, and being able to really trust what you're feeling and sensing. She says this is part of the work you will be doing, is being able
mm,
to not only express that to others, but also help people in that way of trusting what they're sensing
mm,
and feeling is real. Do you understand
mm.
this, Kayla?
Yeah, I think so. I think it brings up a little bit of like
Yeah.
just a lot of generally always wondering what the future will hold. But in a sense of like in this moment, just like more of awe of like, wow, that's so yeah, wonderful to hear.
Yeah. It feels important, she says, that you know that there is nothing you need to do and that
Mm,
everything is in perfect order. And so
mm,
allowing whatever's to come as thinking of like coming attractions, she says, um, and
mm.
just letting them land.
Oh,
um,
so sweet.
yeah. Your grandmother says, I want to be able to just soothe your mind and let your mind not have to worry so much about what's coming or the future or where you'll be when. She says, the only thing we need to know is that you're here now, and then the
Mm,
next now, and then the next now, and then the next now.
mm.
And she says, you can rest in that when the world makes you feel like you need to be doing or getting to a place. Does that make sense, Kayla?
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of things in my tarot readings are like, be patient, be patient, think things through, take your time. You don't have to rush to decision.
And again, she again, the beings are starting to talk to you in that and saying yes, because where you come from, things happen very quickly, and
Mm,
the process at which they can manifest and happen are instantly. There's no like, there's no waiting, there's no nothing
wow.
bit of patience. So there's a remembrance of that energy, that kineticness, and being able to not have that same here, which is the toughest realm to be in, the physical, the earth realm, is can be frustrating, they want to say. So being able to know
Mm,
that is actually the speed at which you operate on the other side in these other planes, and
mm,
being able to know, oh, okay, it's a whole different thing here, and it takes its
mm.
time that it takes. So yeah, just validating.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's makes a lot of sense.
So oh, okay, your grandmother's switching gears here, switching so fast. So there's something around, she's bringing in a male figure, an older male figure,
Okay.
and I feel quite a lot of energy. I in connection with her. I feel very much husband is what I'm gonna say, or partner. Um,
Okay. For
and
her?
yeah, for her,
Okay. Okay.
and I can feel sort of what is this? So she's just naming sort of his energy being with her. So how do you understand this?
Okay. Well, my grandpa, who's her husband, is still here in the
Okay.
physical realm.
Okay.
And He is, I would say, from what I know about his relationship with her, he is very obsessed with her. He really loved her. He wrote a biography about her after she
Is he?
passed away.
Oh my, okay. Because okay, there's something around this because I'm like, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be so weird, but that's how she's bringing it through. Is that he's not crossed over, but he's like wanting to be with her, and there's a
Oh,
sense of like brokenheartedness, is what I want to say,
absolutely.
and ache, like literally aching in my heart to be with her. Like I want to be with her, and not in like a morbid way, but really wanting to be like, okay, I want to be with her. Like from this realm, I want to go to her. Like I want to be with her in this place. Do you
Oh.
understand that?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he really, really, really loved her, and he even has brought up things like I just didn't even deserve her, and like all these things. Like, yeah, and yeah, and just would always say the sweetest things, in her passing, like when she was getting ready to pass, he
Yeah.
had taken her ring off her finger of their marriage ring. I think it was either after she passed, or and he was just like, "Oh, these 50 years were just like them." Just making a whole speech, and
Oh,
yeah, I get the sense that there were their own things that they worked through,
yep.
because they also had a lot of kids together, and there wasn't a whole lot of
Yep.
time always and stuff like that. But yeah, I think overall there's a very loving energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can see him now. I don't know if you know this, and again, this isn't something to like be concerned or worried about, right?
Oh, sure.
But there's something around his health. So I don't know. She's mentioning something around his health and not being something like, huge at this moment, but it does feel like something is going on with his health. Um, and
Mm,
she's just acknowledging that. So
mm.
she's acknowledging that for a few different reasons. One is because she wants to be able to speak to him right now. So I'm just going to let her speak in the ways of how much first of all, that she loves him, and also how
Oh,
much she knows how hard it is to be without her in the day to day,
oh,
and how much it's hard to be in. I don't know what this is. You might have to find this out, but she's showing me him doing little routines they used to do together, but without her,
okay.
and him like having a hard time of not having her there, as together in doing those routines.
Wow.
But she shows me her very much being there in the routines as he's doing them with her. And
Oh,
I don't, it's really simple stuff. I'm gonna say this. She's just showing me like pouring a cup of coffee and sitting at a table and being like, okay, like we're sitting together, or watching the birds, or it's like simple, simple stuff of just little things they would
okay.
do in the quietude. And
Mm,
I feel like she says, hmm, okay, all right. I'm gonna say what she's saying. She's like, say it, Ash. I'm like, okay. So there's something around for him specifically, and maybe this will get passed on to him, but she's urging him to go get checked out, like to go to the doctor. So
okay.
again, I don't know what this is. It could be nothing. But she's just saying, just go to the doctor, just go to the doctor. It's not a big deal. And I don't know if
Okay.
he has a sort of an aversion, or he's stubborn, or was like, I'm not going to go get that checked out. But
That
there's
could
something
be.
there around something he has an inkling of, and just go get it checked out. She's like, don't even worry about it. Just get it checked out. It's fine. So again,
Okay.
I'm going to,
Wow.
yeah, I'm going to
That's
pass
so
that through to
sweet.
you.
Yeah, I will. I'm actually gonna see my grandpa tonight. Yeah. So I will be like, by the way, you have anything you need? Yeah.
You can blame it on the medium. Like,
I
hey,
will. I will.
she's laughing. She goes, he'll know, he'll know. I'm like, okay, I have no idea. So yeah, so that feels important in connection with him, and just yeah, just the incredible connection that they shared, and also
Hmm.
acknowledging the love even in the hardest of times. She says, I loved him so much, even when there were difficulties, even when there were challenges, and even when
Hmm.
we were over our heads in overwhelm of all the things we had to take care of.
Hmm.
She says, I I don't regret a single day being.
Oh. Oh.
That's important for him to know. She just said,
That's
She just said, my love, my love, my love.
Oh, that sounds like her. Okay, I will definitely be passing that along. I'm sure he would love to hear that. Yeah.
Um, thank you. Yeah, she says, thank you for being able to be open to these messages, not only for yourself, but for him, and taking this opportunity. She makes me feel like he really questions himself, um,
Mm,
and sort of doubts what he's experiencing in connection with her. And
okay.
so being able just to validate things to let him know that they're very much real, the connection that he has, and especially
Okay.
around, I don't know what this is. Again, you'll see him tonight, which is amazing.
Sure,
Um,
yeah.
uh, at nighttime, sensing and feeling her. So I don't know what this is. I feel like I'm like laying in the bed, and then I can feel her presence. And
Wow.
again, she just wants to validate that it is indeed her, and that what he feels and senses is real in connection.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Um, okay. All right. Okay. So now she's switching gears a little bit here and changing energy. Okay. Okay. Um, she wants to mention the way that you have parented yourself and mothered yourself.
Mm,
She says, Gayla, I'm so in awe of you and the way that you were able to heal so much in what you've experienced and also what you never received in your childhood.
mm, mm.
She
Yeah.
says, I don't know what this is, but she just brought in sort of a mother figure, not her, but someone else who is sort of
Yeah.
absent or not there. I
Yeah.
feel like very estranged energy towards her. So I don't know what this is, but it feels like we're
Mm,
not as close as this connection. So I don't know how you understand that, but it
mm,
feels very sort of blocked, or like we're just not clear. And there's
mm,
emphasis around this connection in not being your fault in what
mm,
is not there, let's say.
mm.
You understand this, Kayla?
I think so. I think so pretty well. When I'm curious about clarity for like the closeness factor and like knowing that it's not my fault, but I guess what is seen from like a bigger, wider lens, I guess, in that if that's yeah, if that feels okay to ask, and if there's not really any wiggle room of like
Yes,
going more into that,
please.
I'm totally fine
Yes,
to
yes. Yes.
go.
Can
Yeah.
you ask that again?
Yeah, I would like to know like what that relationship between the mother figure looks like from a wider lens.
Mhm.
And I guess like it's good to know it's not on my end. Just I guess like I don't know, part of me is curious like where to go with it sometimes. Sometimes I think
Mhm.
I know and sometimes I don't think I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay. Wow. She's giving you a lot. I'm trying to capture all this.
Okay.
um, so there's um hmm yeah, I don't even know what this, she's giving me a few different analogies, so I don't know how you make sense of this, but it's almost like
Sure,
when someone's adopted and then they have
sure.
you know, they have like a birth mother, and then they have like the foster mother or the mother who takes care of them, or
Mm,
something like that.
okay.
There's this analogy of energy of around um I don't even know, again, around this estrangement or distance between the two of you.
Okay.
And the interesting aspect that your grandmother is bringing up is that, this is really odd to say, but she's like saying this thing around, sometimes the ones who bring us in are not the ones that are the ones we are ultimately connected to. And
Sure.
and in that, there is a way of this person serving a role, and
Mm,
that role has been served at its most capacity, your grandmother says, and then
interesting.
being able to sort of acknowledge that role, appreciate that role for what it was, what it could do, even with its limitations, and then what it is to welcoming in the mothering energy of the earth, what it is to welcoming the
Yeah.
mothering energy of the natural world.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
different mothers for you. Do you understand this? Because it feels very, your grandmother said
Absolutely.
it feels very poly. Your grandmother's like, it's not coming from one place, but
Don't expect it to. Yeah,
it feels
that's so
very much like a
true.
lot of different mothers and a mothering from different, not only human, but more than human figures.
Absolutely.
How do you understand that, Gayla?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That makes so much sense when you put it in that way, for sure. I really appreciate that. I think yeah, within the last year, and I almost positive she's talking about my
Yep. Yep.
her daughter
Yep.
is my mom, and definitely true. I think that the past year specifically has really been this deep acceptance of like I'm not gonna get what I would like from this person, and we are kind of chipping away in a good direction and having progressive conversations, things like that. But my my really close friends always telling me like you were parentified, you were very heavily parentified by your mom, you know, like when she's having a hard time you're always the one to comfort her,
Yes.
but she doesn't really even know how to listen to you. And um and so when I kind of started coming to acceptance with that, I would, whenever I would feel those kind of wounds coming up, I would go outside. I would go down by the water. I would, I would hear those messages in the earth of like, we are here to fully hold you, feel when you are on the ground, how that feels. And that's, just that we can fill your cup more than a lot of these human relationships can. And when you're isolated because you don't have a lot of friends, you're always like, we're always going to be there for you. So that is so spot. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Wow. Wow. Again, just validating what you already sense, know, and feel and are drawn to, right? And
Yeah.
your grandmother says, it can be difficult because we're actually, when we accept things like that, not only are we individuating from the role, we're also shedding and letting what once was die. And so that grief is there, and that grief is meant to be felt and processed
Mm,
as you grow into this other way of being mothered. And that's beautiful too. She says, I want you to be able to know that it's okay to
yeah.
have felt that longing and that desire of
Mm,
like, I wish, like, why couldn't this be? And then
right. Come
feeling
on.
like, and it's just not here, like, okay. And being able to grieve that. So that feels like an important
Yeah.
thing in this time. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
wow.
She even shows me this again. This is only if you want to do this. These things are never things we have to do. They're
Yeah.
just possibilities. But she just showed me you having this like literal burial, like death ceremony, and shedding this aspect or this role or that whatever this is in like a little tiny coffin. I see this like little thing like going into the ground, and then I see like all of these like flowers and herbs and like dirt going over and like incense going. I don't know what I'm looking at, but and
Wow.
being able to put it into the earth as you
Mm,
go into this new direction in that way. Does that land
mm.
with you, Gayla?
That's so cute. It does. I have a love of like little tiny mini things. And
Okay.
so it's a little tiny comment. I was like, oh my God, that's so funny.
I have never seen a tiny coffin. I'm like, what? Micro coffin. I'm like, okay, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Like being wheeled down slowly into the earth. Of course. Okay. Um, So I just want to take this moment to, first of all, before we come to a close, is just open it up to anything else
Mm,
that you have in question with your grandmother or with me.
mm, mm.
There is one thing she just popped in that's so funny. She's like, "Well, I have one more thing to say."
You
She's
know,
like, "Hold
it's
on."
funny. She's a double Aquarius Gemini, so there's a lot of Yeah.
Oh my, it's so funny because it's like,
Yeah.
that's the energy. And I'm like, wow, this is so fun to follow. She just said one thing I want you to know is that I wasn't in pain when I died. I wasn't in
Oh,
pain.
yeah. Oh.
And that feels important as far as her body was concerned or what her body looked like or went through in the process. She says it's
Mm.
important to know that I wasn't in pain. Uh,
Mm.
and that,
Wow.
yeah, that it's also important. She said it's important for him to know that too. So him referring to
Yes, that's what
him,
I was
her
thinking when you
husband.
said that. I was like, probably more for my grandpa.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Uh,
could sense that from her spirit, but
yeah. Because I
he might
just
not.
saw him. Yeah, he's like holding her hand or something while she transitions, and I can see sort of his hoping she's okay by how she
Mm.
looks and questioning if she's in pain or not. And there's something
Oh,
about her not being able to communicate towards the end. So I
yes.
don't know what that was about. Do you understand that? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So again, she wasn't able to communicate, but she's communicating now, she says, and she says, I wasn't in pain. I wasn't in pain, my love, my love, my love, my love.
Oh,
Oh.
oh, I'm gonna cry. It's so sweet. I appreciate you so much. You were such a blessing, Ash. Oh,
Um,
wow.
I I just want to take this opportunity and first of all thank your grandmother for coming in so strongly um, and conveying her giggling. I've never laughed so much during
She's so giggly. She had one of the best laughs I think I've ever heard. It was just like, I think it was the Gemini rising, just like a very childlike spirit and just loving children and loving the chaos of children and doing very well amidst it. She had like a daycare and just constantly, yeah.
I feel it in her energy. She has so much bubbliness, and it's just like it's overpouring. It's just like her body, like her whole body
Wow.
is just like vibrating, you know. I'm like,
That's so sweet. Yeah, she probably wanted to share it with you too. She's like the most grateful person. She would thank you for doing like the little things. You're like, Grandma, what?
I feel like it's okay.
Yeah.
I feel totally blessed to feel her energy, and it's truly a
Um,
gift to receive her through my body and to feel so much aliveness and bubbliness and love, and how at peace she is on the other side, how much she
mm.
loves being out of a body, and how much she loves like flitting to all these different things and flying and moving, and she just loves it. And that's important for him to know too, that she's very happy where she is. And yeah, and she says, I want to thank you, Gayla, for being open to this experience and for allowing it to come through in this visceral way. I've been waiting a long time to come
Oh,
in this way. She says, I want to thank you.
Grandma. Of course, Grandma. Of course. Let's keep doing it. I have to practice my own skills in in
She says, you
receiving.
got it. Yeah, she
Yeah.
says, you got it. She says, you have already such a trust muscle that's strong. She says, you just got to keep building it, believing it to be true. She says, it's all there. It's all with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Um, she just left you. She just kissed your head and she left you with a little butterfly. I don't know what the butterfly is, but she left you with a butterfly.
Cute.
Yeah.
Cute. That sounds about right.
Yeah, this beautiful yellow butterfly she just put in her hands and gave it to you.
Oh,
And
thank you, Grandma.
yeah, yeah. Gayla, I want to thank you as I give your grandmother back to you and just thank you so much for trusting me to channel your loved one. And yeah, just the phenomenal validations and things that you already know and feel. And yeah, it's just incredible, incredible to read for you today. So thank you so, so much, Gayla. How are
I
you feeling
Yeah,
after this?
thank you so much, Ash. Oh my God. I it's funny because before the reading, I was like, I wonder if it's just going to be a lot of validation because I feel like so many times I'll ask things and then something in me is like, you know that, like and so I was like, okay, let me try to really think of things that I don't feel like I know
Mm, mm,
for it. But yeah, I just feel so, yeah, I feel so validated. I feel so um I feel so grateful to know things that I can pass on to my grandpa because I feel like the things that she was sharing really did resonate in the sense of I'm sure he does have those feelings, and just knowing my family, um, a lot of people grew up in the church and religious, and it can be very hard to talk about these like things that are hard to explain. And it can be easy for them to say, oh, it's God, or it's just a coincidence, or kind of these things that get typically thrown at you when you try to share something like that. So I think, yeah, just having a gift from her to be able to pass on to him, I can already feel that that is like going to be a very beneficial message to have translated. So I'm really grateful. Yeah, a lot of gratitude and validation. And um, I think again, the rest is kind of hard to put in words right now, but excited, I think too. Yeah, I think excited, just filled with that excitement. Yeah, for
Mm.
the experience.
Wow. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Gayla. And this is a big experience. We opened the portal. So I like to say aftercare, it's good to drink lots of water, eat good foods, be on the grass or in nature, whatever. And noticing your dreams, noticing the world around you might be a little kicked up and psychedelic. That's really normal after something like this. And being able to rest if you can. Some people fall asleep for like hours after because they're like, whoa, I'm so exhausted. But,
That
um,
was a lot.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, I need to integrate. So allowing whatever integration process calls to you. And I will send this to you so you have the recording to have you with you and unpack in your own time.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you are such a blessing. One thing I would love to ask you is when you first started sharing about
Mhm.
um like the holding on, the remembrance. I'm wondering if and I have seen a lot of your content on Instagram and stuff, but I don't remember if I ever heard something talking about like if you've always had that remembrance or if that was something just a little and you worked with, or if it was like for some people it's so overwhelming you can't ignore it. Like, yeah, I'm curious what that
Yeah.
was for you.
Yeah. For me, is that what you're asking
Yeah,
me? Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Oh wow. Thank you for your question. I think for me, and I think this is common actually, but in my experience, when I was little, that remembrance was strong, was
yeah.
really, really strong.
Mm,
I was a truth speaker. I was a feeler. I was tender. I was like, I could feel everything, like from the inside out, everyone, everything. And it was strong, but then what happened is I had my parents come in, I had schooling come in, I had all these people who sort of were like, stop, that's not real. You can't be this sensitive, you've got to be strong. Um, and you can't feel, like, stop feeling. And so over the years it really got numb and it got tucked and I got depressed and like I was like a sad kid pretty much because
yeah.
I couldn't use my gifts. I couldn't feel that connection to source like right there like it was, right?
Yeah.
It was like on tap and they like cut the tap off and I was like I don't want to be here if this is all there
Yeah.
is, right? And then through lots of experiences and through my near death experience, that got reawakened. And through my mushroom trip, I went on a heavy dose mushroom trip and that was it. It was like, oh no, this is the connection, remember? And I was like,
Yeah. Oh
gosh.
yeah. And you were right back in with Source.
And I was right back at my source, and then there was no going back. There was no hiding. There was no forgetting or numbing because I had remembered so intensely all of a sudden that it
Wow.
hasn't been shut down since. So yeah,
Yeah, you're like, and I'm not gonna ignore it now because were you like more in your independence as an individual at that point in your life where you could just be like, well, nope, this is what I'm doing now. Nobody can tell me.
exactly. I was just like, no, I'm not. And the cost for me and my guides and what they were sending me cosmically was like, if you do this, if you shut it down, you will get sick, and then you will exit this earth. And you will
Wow.
never try again. And I was like, wait a minute, hold on.
Try again. Oh my
Let me try. Hold on. And that was enough for me. But honestly, that's the way. Not everyone needs to have it that way. But for me, I was not getting the messages. I wasn't taking it in. I was like, it's okay, but I have other things to do. And that put me onto my knees and humbled me to, oh, it's time. And I really need to wake up, not for me, but for the collective and who I'm going to serve and help. And that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, but I'm sure that the work with the collective, I mean, of course, like it must be so because it's so much of your purpose of being here and like that, it must also like fill you and it's not really like because it's coming from source through you, it doesn't feel like draining to you because it's not as yeah. Is that
Yeah, I
maybe
think
I'm not
it's
explaining
like
right.
it's interesting. That's such a good question. No one asked me these questions, but it is interesting in the sense that what I find, so I don't ever find the channeling or the messaging or the mediumship or spirit, like any of this stuff draining. What is draining is actually the limitations of the physical body to receive it. So I think that's something that's
Wow,
very nuanced that not a lot of mediums will talk about in public. They'll
wow,
just go, "Yeah, it's fine. I have endless energy or whatever." And I do find that true. Like there's the energy in the high is like, wow, it's literally from another place. But the way that it runs through the physical with its limits can then cause like, you get exhausted. The body can only run so
wow,
many marathons before it's like, hey, I need sleep, I need water, I need food, I need rest, I need,
yeah.
like, so I think that's the most challenging part is if I wasn't in a body, I could all the time,
So,
no, just go, 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 much like the spirits do in the readings. But because I'm in a body, it's a humbling experience to be like, well, it has capacity and I have to honor that. So that's the part that
absolutely,
gets draining or it's like exhausting is
absolutely.
that kind of through the body. Yeah. Yeah. But I
Wow, yeah.
love it, right? So it's this
Yeah,
interesting
right. You're like, I'm willing to do that work then too to match the what I need, listening. Yeah, I'm sure that sounds like a journey of its own too, to really find that balance. And I'm sure it's changing. I mean, yeah, I guess is that changing often, like what you're feeling you need based off like your body and the way we age
yeah.
in a body and things like
Oh
that.
yeah, for sure. And these bodies, I find my body is a physical timestamp, right? Like it's not going to live forever. So I know
Yeah.
that, and I know that the body will decompose in time, and that process looks like getting older, and that is something that I have to honor and be with too. So it's like it's so much about listening for me and knowing when I need to rest and totally do nothing. And I can't
Mm,
read. Sometimes I go through periods where I'm not reading anything because it's
yeah.
just go underground and
Yeah, it's like you don't need to intake anything
no more
else.
intake, no more intake, just you take. And then there are times like now where I'm doing so many readings, but I have the bandwidth and it's not a thing. It's an energy giver. So you're right.
Yeah.
It's constantly being able to trust and pivot to what's emerging constantly. Yeah.
Wow. That is so wow. Wow. It is so amazing to share energy and space and like, in a multi-dimensional way. Like obviously we're seeing each other through a phone, but I think your presence is very felt through all and like it's just yeah, thank you so much for the the sharing and the healing that it brings and the connection and the validation and like I know I'm sure that's true for everyone who sees you and listens to what you share and like online too. I'm sure I think that's the last question I have for you is like, is it difficult for you to translate what you do to online in the world that we live in, where like that's kind of how you have to like be able to keep doing it? Like, is that difficult, or does it kind of come naturally because you're like, well, I'm already here doing this, just at the phone. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I think I understand what you're saying or asking. Like, is it hard to share what I do on a public in like social media or to people in generally, like, and really get it, like
Yeah.
understand it? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I think most people have a preconceived notion of what a psychic medium is, and some of it is good, and some of it is like scammy, charlatan, and like trying to get your money, like weird stuff, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, like, so that's there immediately, and I'm like, oh, I talked to dead people who were like, oh, okay, like they end up walking away or changing the subject. And yeah, and I think until someone has had an experience, it's really hard to know um, what it's about. And if they've had a bad experience, it's even harder to sort of understand, because they're like, no, I've had that before. Thank you. It was very vague and not helpful. And I'm like, yeah, that does not sound good.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So yeah, I think now being able to share these readings is a big thing, so that people do get an insight of like what actually happens, what actually comes through, what's felt, and what is the experience of healing, right? Like you said, it's like there's this multidimensionality in these sessions that I cannot explain. It is not me, it is beyond me. And
This way.
right, and people feel it, and they're like, I don't even know how to name this right now. I can feel things moving in my body, and it's like, exactly. So
Yep.
yeah, that type of thing is like, I think only when it's shared like this can be experienced, and people can start to go, oh, there's a whole different way of being and seeing and experiencing the more than human realms, and we're so connected, actually. So yeah, I think that's part of my mission, is being able to really show what it is that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, yeah, wow. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I really can only imagine. I was gonna also, do you have a session right after this? I just want to make sure, because you have a couple minutes in
Oh, you're
between.
good. Yeah,
Just
I
like,
have about 5 minutes left. Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, before my next session.
If I in the future like want to is the best way to reach you for other readings, mediumship readings, is that through email? What is the best way to book?
That's
Yeah.
the best
Okay.
way. Yeah, DMs
Okay,
are
good.
great, but they're not as,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's not
I
as
have
like
a lot, so it's hard
direct
to
like
like go
a
through
five
them all.
star.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
emails are great. The
Okay.
You have my email, the one that you were sending me on. That's a great way to stay in
Okay.
contact with me and just get more readings in the future if you.
I would love to. I would love to. I'm actually, yeah, with family right now for some family stuff that was going on. And then I'm based in Chicago. So I'll be back there. And then once I get everything figured out there, I think I would really love to do more, because it just, yeah, like you said, it's a portal. And this feels like an important time, that transition, to kind of be like, all right, all hands on deck. Like,
Let's go. Let's go.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, thank you so much. You are such a blessing. I'm having a hard time with words, but I'm sending like a lot of heartfelt energy towards you, and sustaining what you do, and finding your own healing, and those moments in your own life where you can recharge and have those meaningfulness for yourself. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gayla. It's been an honor, and I hope that the rest of your day, this energy just continues to blossom and unfold. And I will send you everything so you have it for yourself as well to keep with you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Love. Bye.
Bye.